Alright, so there we go with a later in the night type of video where I just wanted to talk about my shell environment this time. So my terminal and my command line programs that I use on a day-to-day basis for file operations and such. So, as a first, we get the terminal itself. It's ghosty. It's a nice terminal written in Zig that integrates very well with the GNOME desktop environment. I've tried a number of others, for example Blackbox, which was pretty cool looking, but I remember it didn't integrate well with my system, didn't even support hardware acceleration, for example, and that really showed in big buffers with a lot of characters and stuff, oddly enough. Because yeah, my system running NeoFetch, we can see that I'm running a modest 4060. And in fact, NeoFetch is one of the programs I run every now and then to just look at some funny colors and text. I also changed the icon of the penguin here. This is Arch Linux, by the way. And yeah, I got a lot of packages, 2000 and more. And we can see that the shell that I'm running is ZSH. So that's one of the one of the basics. With ZSH itself, I interact with every sort of command in my path, which I'll go and show right now. It's the environment variable, and I see it's pretty big. I think there's also repetitions and stuff. I should really look into optimizing this. But my configuration has been pretty stable for now, at least when it comes to console. So yeah, I figured I would do this little video. You can see that the commands are highlighted and the syntax is highlighted. The echo command has a different color than this variable, and if I'm writing something else, that gets another color again. That's thanks to a script that I found somewhere. I think I'll link my dot files somewhere in the description. I first need to clean them a bit because of all this crap around here, and because there might definitely be passwords laying around. Talking about configuration files, as it is tradition, I put many of mine in the .config directory. In fact, that's where most programs go and look for them. So here is mine, and you can see it's pretty packed, it's pretty full, but these are most of the times not files that I wrote myself. They're actually spitted off by other programs, and they're just rewritten constantly, updated. I don't want to keep track of them. In fact, I do what is commonly known as stowing my configuration files. And that thing I do in the config folder without a dot, so it's in my home directory, and you can see that it's a Git repo. Well, what I do here is having way less files and folders, and then every now and then when I add something, I run this command, update.sh, which we'll go and be taking a look. So I'm not using GNU Store, as I said, but I'm using this version of mine, which actually I first wrote in Bash to have some tests pretty quickly. What it does that's different from GNU is essentially that it doesn't make symlinks of directories and files, but of files only, and the directories are remade with the mkdir system call. So this is all very slow in Bash. In fact, I rewritten the command in Rust. It passes down most of the same tests, and I also saw that somebody copied my name. I don't know who came first. Okay, maybe this guy, because it's from 7 years ago. So this is my stow system. Let's see it in action. So we also got like I think it's called like stow local ignore. So this is what I'm asking it not to copy for some reason. Now I don't really remember it. And yeah, it's got some log information that we can see also. Now that we've switched a couple of directories, I gotta tell you, I don't go around and cd my way into them. Most of the time, in fact, what I'm doing is using LF, which is a terminal file manager. It's really handy. It's got Vim-based key bindings by default. In fact, that's a common theme in this whole configuration. And it's very extensible and lightweight. I think I've tried Ranger first. It's a Python project, but for performance issues, especially on my old laptop, which I'm still using to this day, I really prefer using LF. I also find that it's even better with scripting. So let's have a look at one of these scripts. I will quit LF with a Q binding, and as you can see, I've effectively changed my directory. This is possible thanks to a combination of environment variables and inter-process communication between the shell instance itself and LF. Maybe we'll look to that a little bit later. But let's have a look at one of these scripts. It's way better than Ranger, for example, because LF allows you to define commands with the bash syntax, and then it calls a subshell, I guess. It calls another process that that does what you need to do. And in fact, you can also use environment variables or local variables as it happens. For example, to have the information of what precise file you're looking at right now. For example, this one is a reserved variable. So let's have a look at what this very script does. It's bulk rename, so I use it to rename files in bulk. Let's have an example. Imagine we downloaded a number of files from the internet, and they got this nasty naming structure. We got capital letters, spaces, which are really terrible when it comes to shell scripting and, in my opinion, an organized way of having your files. So what can we do with LF in combination with these scripts is simply rename them in bulk and apply to every line some other script, and in turn save the result. And what we have is our same files of before, but with a way nicer naming. The text editor that I use in combination with my shell and with my environment, of course, is a Vim derived one. It's NeoVim, and I have the alias Vui that makes it way faster to open. My philosophy with NeoVim and console editors in general is that I don't like them to be my IDE. In turn, I use Visual Studio Code, the open source version. And in fact, I just like my console editor to be possibly as fast as it can. But still, it has a number of additions. For example, the Mason. Okay, right. I got a number of language servers, but I don't use it mainly. And yes, we got Mason. We got some, well, a number of helper scripts and plugins. This very one is based on Fuzzy Finder. I don't really know if it has the Fuzzy Finder binary as a strict dependency, but it's pretty helpful to have this one always at hand. For example, let's go and have a look at my NeoVim configuration. So it's all Lua scripted. I also used to have a Vim script version that I'm not really using anymore. I found that every distribution that I'm putting my hands on right now has NeoVim versions that are, well, that are recent enough and can all use Lua scripting. So yeah, the Lua configuration is heavily based on LazyVim, which I'm really not updating anymore. I just used it for the convenient boilerplate, and I think I've added a number of other custom scripts, and I cannot really recall which. Talking about Fuzzy Finder, in fact, I'll say it's deeply integrated into the system. For example, every time I wanna choose a file in a command or also a flag for it, I'm having a list of helpful tips that also describe the meaning of a flag. That's particularly helpful. So that's done with Fuzzy Finder together with ZSH, and I will say it's exactly this. It's this plugin right here. So what else do we have laying around my ZSH plugins? Well, for sure, this one ends up being one of the more helpful, and I think one of the ones I've had the most trouble with. It's integration with the system clipboard, especially when I'm in VI mode in ZSH itself. For example, once I have some text, I can just press escape, and from it I can use Vim key bindings to navigate it. All inside of the read line, all inside of the line itself. And with the Control E shortcut, I can go inside of a Vim buffer and have command editing inside of there. Let's look at an example of this system clipboard. For example, with the Vim key binding. I'm pressing Y for yank, and I can subsequently use paste inside of the button itself, inside of the line itself, or in other parts of my system. What happens instead when I want to copy the output of a command, for example, something I don't really have much control on. Oh, no. Yeah, I got a little frozen. Some weird characters were outputted, of course, by the dev random virtual file. Well, sometimes I just wanna copy some part of the output of a command that's been run and that I cannot pipe anymore. For example, into VI. Like this. I could totally pipe it if it was like that. But what if the output has been saved inside of the terminal buffer? Well, in that case, I will use the singly most helpful tool, which is in my configuration, and that's Tmux. So, with one of the many features of Tmux, I can just, with my keyboard, go around and select text with Vim key bindings and everything, and well, have it copied to my system clipboard, and then paste it back again wherever I need. So let's talk some more about this Tmux, which, for the name itself, it stands by Terminal Multiplexer. What it does is, what actually most users do, is run it inside of the shell RC file, so it's being executed as soon as a new shell starts, for example here. And well, what you can do with it is a number of different things in different scenarios. It multiplexes terminals because you can well, create splits, and these should be called panes, as in panels. And for Tmux itself, you have a terminal palette. For example, you can write commands there instead of using the key bindings, and you can define key bindings. It's very extensible. I have my file here, and well, actually I want to show some part in particular of it, because it's what I think I'm using Tmux in a good way for. Most of the non-attentive viewers, so most of everybody, wouldn't say that this terminal is running Tmux, because most of the times I think we can find it somewhere around here. Well, Tmux comes by default, how was it called? Oh yeah, Tmux Airline. Well, not this one, because was it this? Well, I hope you get the idea. Most of Tmux instances run with a, what to me is an annoying bar at the bottom, which just takes a lot of space away. Like, it would be just to have a full line with useless text on there. For example, I don't know, the clock. Most of the time you have a clock somewhere else and can just spare a bit of precious character lines for something else. One other cool thing that they got here, this one is a little more useful, is a list of currently opened windows, another term for Tmux. For example, we can see that in this instance there's only one window, so in my Tmux there's no additional line, but as soon as I add another window with the shortcut, well, the line comes out here, so I can do my different stuffs in the two separate windows. So there they are. And when I'm done with any window that's not the last one remaining, well, I simply terminate the shell, and the line isn't there anymore. So it hides itself so nicely and gives us that precious line back. I just found a collection of very cool projects that are associated with Tmux, and most of them are about status bar configuration tuning. For example, look at this one. To me, it's a little too distracting to have all this fancy animations and stuff with it. But anyways, Tmux is such an important tool and does much more than text selection and pane splitting. For example, it's very, very useful with, well, with SSH sections. Just look at what this can do right here. For example, you can look at all the instances of Tmux running on my machine right now. Yeah, for example, I can just simply mirror one terminal with the other. How cool is that? And to talk about this hideable line, I just wanted to see again how we did, because I don't really remember. That's kind of all the idea of this video right here. So yeah, I think that it went something like this. For example, with the current pane, this is another feature that I've added. When we're inside of VI or NeoVim buffer, we can see the name of the file that we're editing. For example, what if we were editing some test.txt? Well, yeah, it's promptly switched. And it takes like a split second to update it, but I made it work with VI, with LF, shows us the current directory, and also with ZSH. So yeah, it shows SH and that thing right there. I definitely spent way more time than I should have with the tuning of this thing. It also supports like well, the shorthand form for the home folder. So that's the tilde right here. If we went back to home, it just said it will just say the well, the base name of the directory. I think it does something like this internally. Right now, yeah, this one goes with the clipboard, which, by the way, I should have pointed out before. It's I just want to quit this session. How do I do this? Like this. The clipboard is kind of versatile, I would say. It works with Termux on my phone. That's different from Tmux. That's the name of the terminal app for Android. Maybe I'll do some videos about that also. And it does work on Xorg, with Xclip and with Wayland with WL copy. I know this is not the most efficient way to do this, but who cares? Instead, for the behavior of the bar hiding and showing, well, I think it's somewhere around here, because there's this script that I've remembered does most of the heavy lifting, and it's really easy in the end. It's way easier than I remembered. There are just these convenient hooks, so after a new window is made, or after a new window is unlinked, for example when there's a shell quit. Well, I'm just running this bar adjuster script that's very easy. It says, it confronts the current count of session windows, so the windows in the current session, the session being the whole terminal view. There are some details on that, but let's say it's the whole terminal view. So once we have less or equals than one windows, then we're setting the status bar on and off, which we can also do with another binding. And so this is pretty much everything for an overview on my configuration files. Of course, there's way more stuff around here, mainly graphical programs or just stuff that I'm using on other installations, but I keep everything in this config directory and store it in the way that we discussed before. But also we got a number of branches, which well, they represent the current status of my other installations. And well, an important thing about yes, the environment, the shell environment, is also this script directory, which I've kind of organized like this. We got a number of themes which are inside these top level directories. For example, I don't know, Arch Linux, and some convenience scripts. This one, for example, allows us to, well, to get the URL of a package that's given the name and the version of it in a specific format. Or this other one that I've used before to remove the capitalization from the file names in the example. As you can see, these the actual scripts, well, they're symlinked from the theme folders. This kind of creates some double-sided effect. For example, given that the script folder itself is in the executable files path, and I got something like this Wikipedia directory here, I can go somewhere else in my system and just write Wikipedia, and it turns out as present in the path directory, but for it being a directory, we're giving a permission denied to execute it, so it's not really the most comprehensible way of organizing scripts and stuff, but for now I found it very useful, actually.